place. You know, the Aula Magna and all the great university buildings are really impressive, but still it's a change of setting. It's a really light and airy room, and we're really happy to have the opportunity to be here at the center where research and businesses are collected. We're really grateful to have the chance to stay here in Pavia at the Polo Tecnologico. And my name, as I said, is Dana. I'm here as a representative of the work package 7, Science Within For Society. And as you can see, I'm not alone here. We have a fantastic team, our think tank, special expert group, task force, superpower person team. You can see here that's Philippe from Coimbra, Adriana from Yash, Beatrice from Pavia, Jam and Flora from Poitiers, and Ephraim from Salamanca. And we'll see if our colleague from Salamanca will also be present online. Unfortunately, our colleague from Turku, she had something coming up last minute, but she's also with us with a heart and mind, I'm really sure. And so the whole EC2U team is here to present the think tank results. Okay, so we can just start the presentation. Yes, and go right to, I have the presenter, that might be easier. Yeah, and I really have to say a big thank you in advance to the tech team here at the site. They did an incredible job. So it's just setting us up. You can see the amount of laptops involved in this session. So thank you. Okay. The think tank Circular Economy, Key to Sustainability and Change is a really important topic. We will address the think tank in 4 steps. First of all, I want to say something general about the think tank concept and the think tank charter. And then I want to introduce the topic of this year's think tank to you. And really the biggest part of the presentation today are the results from the local think tanks, because each of our EC2U partners had its own think tank, really assembling the greatest, not the greatest thinkers, but also the greatest practitioners, really the key people in the field of circular economy, from the university, from the businesses, and also from the municipalities. And it's really interesting to see what each of our partners, cities, universities came up with. And that is going to be the biggest part of today's presentation. You can really get an insight to all our local results. And of course, we want to really get an overview, not only into the local results, but also about the findings for our EC2U Alliance. We did some brainstorming, what could be an idea for the Alliance, how could we proceed, and also what is our joint reflection. Yeah, for the first part, the think tank concept, it was really important to us to create a space for open dialogue, as you can see here, not only at the level of the European Alliance, but also at the local level, because just bringing together all the local stakeholders is not a trivial task, because the people are not always that connected as you would like them to be. So this is the first step, is really bringing the local stakeholders together. That's a really big and important task. And the second step is bringing everybody together on a European level. And really the big aim, the big objective is to be an agent of change and to get something going together. Another part of the think tank, EC2U think tank, is the policy recommendation. We will just put everything that we present here and all the reflections into a document that will be made available to all of you if you'd like to, and to be at service when you know, to also strengthen the knowledge exchange between our cities, between our partners, because as you will see, we keep that at a very pragmatic level. We talked about best practices, solutions, challenges. It will be a really good documented instrument to really get in touch with each other, to see who already came up with a solution to a challenge that, for example, at my university is still going on. So this is the second part, is the policy recommendation. In our think tank, we also developed a think tank charter. And it's just in these times and after yesterday, which was really filled with all the emotions in the Aula Magna, we just wanted to cite part of the think tank charter that we developed together, that as a participant of the think tank, we commit to respecting our European values, as said in the article of the Treaty on the European Union: human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, the rule of law, and respect for human rights, including the rights of persons belonging to minorities, which is part of what it means to be European, and to engage respectfully with each other. So that was really, we couldn't see the deep impact that the charter would have at times like these, but I'm really glad that we did indeed design that together. And this is really like a preface to every think tank. All the participants have to commit to that charter. Last year we did the first think tank, and the topic was values for your values. We talked about building a value-based community, and we did that. It was during the pandemic, and we decided to do that as an online survey. So 1,400 participants just filled out the survey, and in the survey we asked them what has to change that you could live according to your own personal values. And you can see the answers on the right-hand side here: respecting each other more and more environment protection. Those were among the 3 top answers. And for this year's think tank, we put those up to vote in our work package board and also in the Execo committee of EC2U to agree on the next topic. And the topic the people voted for is on circular economy. So what has to change? You see the environment protection that is part of a solution, the circular economy, and we put that into the middle of this year's think tank. During our session today, there will be 3 opportunities for you also to get active, to be involved. You can see the QR code in front of you. And we will start right now, because just to get you into a circular mood today, we have a first question for you. What does circular mean to you? So I will now ask you to take out or just redirect your mobile phone, scan the QR code, and answer the question. And we will see what's coming up right here on the screen. So the first things are coming up: pay a little more and reusing, producing less waste. The beginning is equal to the finish. Travel slow. Buying less, recirculate, recycle. Don't throw stuff away too fast. Learning how to fix things, that's actually a really good thing to have as a competence, yeah. Reuse products, focus on local. Create value to each participant in the game. Renewable energy. Educate to recycle, very good point. More social engaged, yeah. Yeah. Bea, what do you think? You're happy with the answers? Yeah. Yeah. Give things away to others who can reuse them. Yeah, zero waste, that would be nice. Reuse, recirculate, don't waste. Yeah, sharing. Yes.
They have studied. They have studied.
Yeah. Yeah. Circular communities. Don't buy something I'm not going to use. Yeah. Equal access to goods. Yeah. So I think DIY, do it yourself. I think these were really great answers, and you could just add just additional stuff in the Slido question here if you'd like to. We can have a look at it later. But I think just as a kickoff, you are the expert on circular economy. You just have to say that here. I think we're happy, aren't we? Yeah, we're happy. Okay. So thank you very much for your answers here. If we go back to the slides, and I take the presenter and actually go on with the slides, you will see what we used as our working definition for the think tank. So we wrote a script for the think tank, so all participants got that before the think tank. We have identified 3 principles of circular economy. First, eliminate waste and pollution. Second, circulate products and materials. And third, regenerate nature. And the second part that we would like to add to that working definition for our think tank, we understand circular economy not as an end in itself, but as a means to an end. Better environmental quality, economic growth, and social well-being. So that was the scope, the setting, the scene that we set for the think tank. And then the questions and the tasks the participants of the think tank had to discuss were pretty straightforward. You can see here, first of all the people that participated in the think tank. We had 90, around about 90, maybe even over 90, 92, I guess, 92 people participating in the think tanks altogether. And the one thing that we're really proud of is that they came from all different backgrounds. We really this time managed to get the municipalities engaged, get the businesses engaged, and get the researchers engaged, and also the students. So this is really something we are proud of. And also from the many associations that are engaged in circular economy, they also participated to a different degree, but they also participated in the think tank. Yes, so thank you to all the participants. You really did a great job, and we were really impressed with all the findings, and we really would do it again in a minute. Yeah. Okay, so the questions, as I said, they were pretty straightforward. We discussed that before in our board, of course. And as I said before, we really wanted to be able to see a parallel structure. So we asked the 4 points to our participants. First of all, motivation. Yeah, what is the motivation for you, for the stakeholder, to engage in circular economy? What are the problems? The specific problems and challenges that the stakeholders have attempted to solve. What is the solutions that you came up with? And also, what are the remaining challenges? So what are the challenges that stakeholders have to tackle next, or that have yet to be solved? And our hope also is, if you see the findings today and you have participated in the think tank or are engaged in your community at your university, and we will show you now the local think tank results, and you see that, for example, in Coimbra, they came up with a very good solution, or in any of the other university alliance partners, they came up with a pretty good solution for a problem, for a challenge that you are currently facing, that you really approach the person or approach us, that we can connect you to, have a kind of matchmaking event, and then further discuss and exchange knowledge on the topic. That would be really our hope to be one of the outcomes of the think tank. As a little preface to the findings, just a general comment and one table that I want to show you. There are different national approaches on how to implement circular economy. And I've brought you, or we have brought you one table here. We decided not to give a ranking. We found lots of articles that would rank our EC2U countries and say, well, they're doing it the best and they're doing the least best. But if you can see, that table really shows us a lot. I would do, I'm from Jena, so I will just take the German line here. You could be really impressed about all the patterns, yes, and all the money that goes into, but you could also really Is it? Yes. But you could also, if you go to the front, you could also see that Germany is also the country who produces most of the waste. Just, for example, compared to Romania, it's really a big amount of municipal waste. So, but I think this is a really interesting chart to compare the countries and to see the strength and also the things that have to be done. And just as a little context, I want to give you that one table. And now we will dive right into, you can see the very subtle circus for the circular economy forming at the top. As our colleague from Turku couldn't join us today, I will present the Turku results to you. I would just explain the slides. Every EC2U partner will have the same, you will see the same slide just to give you an orientation. You can see the three group of stakeholders, university, city, and businesses on the left-hand side, and the four topics that I just introduced: motivation, problem, solution, and remaining challenges on the horizontal line. And we don't have to go into the detail, we won't do it, of course, but just let me pick out some interesting points for Turku. Overall, and I've read all the findings of all EC2U partners, Turku seems to be a city that's very advanced in the field of circular economy. The motivation for the university is to integrate the circular economy in the university's mission, in education, research, and the third mission. And they came up, which is really interesting for all of the universities, they came up with a sustainable campus action plan. For the cities, the motivation is to have a sustainable city development, but they also, as you can see here, multi-stakeholders cooperation need time. They can't be rushed, and you really have to get to know each other, get to understand the other person's perspective in order to come up with really good and long-term solutions. So this is something that they discovered, that they need more time and maybe also more attention towards each other to really reach a circular economy level. They also, and I know this is a big issue also in other cities and universities, they already aligned investment and procurement with the circular economy indicators, which is really impressive. And the next topic is the topic of transport and mobility. And yesterday in the session on Students' Voice, there was also a point, the aspect of more bikes in the cities and so on. So this is really a topic that connects the cities and the universities, and maybe that is really a point that the two stakeholders can discuss together. The businesses in Turku, they want to be pioneers, or as they said, influencers of circular economy. So they really are pushing forward here. But the problem is there's still a lack of investment. So it's really not, this is an issue for all the cities and all our partners. Lack of investment, lack of money, there's an issue everywhere. They already came up with measuring footprints and creating an ecosystem of circular economy. So this is really something fantastic they developed. I think that underlines how good it is. You can see here the best practices for Turku, and you can see here the Sustainable Campus Working Group they've established, and they agreed to reach carbon neutrality till 2025, which is pretty soon. And they also have a circular Turku roadmap that could be really interesting for the municipalities, because other people also plan on reaching carbon neutrality. Not till that, but I think there might be some similarities that could be also adapted to the own local context. And for the businesses, you can see here, it's really interesting that there's a circular economy visitor center. So you could really, you mentioned the point of education, you can really raise awareness and educate people in such a visitor center. It's a really great thing to have. Yes, for citizens and school children, and also for a showroom, because as I said, the companies, the businesses in Turku want to be influencers on circular economy. So they use this space to really put up their products and show how they do it. So now it's the colleagues from Poitiers, Jean and Flora, you're up.
Thank you. So for Poitiers, our think tank in Poitiers took place on March 3rd, and we had the chance to do it in person. And we had 10 people present. And first, our local think tank was very interesting. The discussion were fruitful and allow us to present you the results that we will now discuss. Regarding motivation, it's of course about all a question of individual, of people who are involved and motivated by protection and the environment. Then for the university, it's a question of leading the process of implementing the circular economy within the institution itself, and of answering the students' expectations. For the city, it means working with all the actors in the area of the theme of short waste cycles and waste recovery. For the entrepreneurs and associations, the motivation comes essentially from the fact they are engaged entrepreneurs and concerned about ecology. The problem faced by these different actors are of different kinds. So, for example, for the city, it's to support the resident, the citizen, in changing their habits and behaviors in their waste recycling practices. To do this, it has set up an action with the help of a doctoral student from the University of Poitiers to encourage eco-responsible behavior without creating eco-anxiety. It's a big challenge for her to implement actions that encourage behavioral change, especially among the less fortunate people in poorest neighborhoods. Now, regarding the university, it's faced with the following difficulty: that environmental actions are sometimes in contradiction with the general rules of public contract. In order to be more responsible, the University of Poitiers is introducing sustainable development and social responsibility criteria in its contract. In this aspect, its main challenge is to generalize these criteria to the awarding of all its contracts. Finally, from the point of view of a startup company, that we mobilized for this think tank. The difficulty is to identify French products with real traceability. The solution for them is to work with natural and minimally transformed material using a process that is environmentally friendly. The big challenge, like many startups in our region, is to move from the stage of a startup conducting laboratory experiments to industrial scale production. This subject is directly related to the forum in Pavia and the Entrepreneurial Week. Now, I give the word to my colleague Flora for the best practices.
Thank you. This is, yeah, it works. So we have chosen to select only 3 good practices for Poitiers, so from the university, business, and city. So it's the main actions, like the most important that we have, we thought was relevant for this presentation. So at the level of our university, the University of Poitiers, the university has obtained a label called DDRS. So DD is for sustainable development and RS is for social responsibility. It's a label to implement our commitment in favor of ecological and energy transition. And it has been obtained for 4 years now. This label is used to promote the sustainable development and social responsibility initiatives of French higher education and research institutions. So it's a French national reference system. In addition, the University of Poitiers is very involved in the development of biodiversity of the campus, the reduction of energy consumption, the development of soft mobility, and a zero waste strategy. The University of Poitiers is deeply transforming the university sites in order to invent a new living environment favorable to the development of a nice campus life. At the level of our city, it is about setting up a collective composting sites. Indeed, by 2024, so in 2 years, each inhabitant of Poitiers and the surroundings should have an individual or collective composting solution. So in 2024, so we have 2 years left. Finally, for the business, it was BioCDF. BioCDF, it's a company in Poitiers. It's a startup company, and it's hosted at the University of Poitiers. And they were students of the University of Poitiers as well. Their aim is to deconstruct biosourced and renewable plant material. This construction is done dry, that is to say, without using water or solvents, using only metal balls to extract the molecules with specific properties that they are searching for. So it's really specific. And it's a really good example of a company supported by the university and also by our city, and also integrated into the entrepreneurial ecosystem of Poitiers. So all the stakeholders are quite related to each other, and that's, I think, the main important thing about circular economy. That's it for Poitiers, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Jean and Flora. So next up is Jena. I'm now speaking as a local person of Jena. We also had had an online think tank due to the COVID situation, and we had representatives from the University of Applied Sciences. We had student representatives. We also had municipalities from the city development, and one representative of the Green Office of the university, and one woman from the businesses. And our main findings were, for the university, there's a big wish and need for change, and also on a more academic level, the need of really doing the research. What does it mean, circular economy? What is waste? Really to have more research on that topic, and also to have more academic exchange on that topic. And then they also stated that it is quite problematic that technological innovations, technological solutions sometimes are easier to come by than, really systemic change. So you can have an invention at one point that will make things easier, but you still have the whole system, the social system, the systemic change that you need to really implement that technology on a daily basis, for example. So this is really the challenge. As one of the solutions for the University of Vienna, I can say that the topic of circularity and sustainability is really making a change in the institutional structure. For example, we have established a green office at the University of Vienna, and there's also a sustainability group in the Senate of the university. As a remaining challenge is the heat and energy consumption of some of the university buildings, especially the older buildings. That's really is an issue in how to renovate and put that buildings up to date with regard to energy consumption. The city of Vienna is on the way to carbon and climate change neutrality and has committed itself to reach the goal by 2053. 953 is right. Just so there's still a bit of time to reach that. Tokyo has, as you seen earlier, University of Tokyo will reach that goal 10 years earlier. So maybe the city of Vienna can learn from them. And the problem there is to really establish change within the current legal framework. So there has to be some changes in the legal framework to really get the topic going. In the city of Vienna, they strategically implemented circular concepts in the city policy and city events, and also in the daycare system. They actually have reached that, and that's really impressive. In the businesses, they presented themselves as really intrinsically motivated, really changing the world for the future generations. And they still have the problem of not having enough staff and money to really reach their goals. And they started to change the aspect of procurement to be able to buy more sustainable products and produce less waste. As best practice examples of Vienna, I will show you also from the 3 stakeholders. As I said, the Green Office, the Sustainability Working Group within the Senate, and we had last year it's a big activity in our university where we built pallet furniture on the campus. So when you will come to Jena next spring, you will see the pallet furniture on our main campus. In the city of Jena, we have some repair cafes, we have food sharing projects, we have giveaway shelves all over the city. And the city of Jena also produces fairy booklets. They're called carrot books for schools. And they also indicated that they would be interested to work together with one of our work packages of EC2U, work package 6, Sustainable Cities and Communities. So if they're interested in collaborating and putting some of the aspects of the work package forward, they would be happy to include that in, for example, the fairy tale booklets. And there's also a fair shopping guide, so you know where you can shop circular and sustainability in Jena. For the businesses, the issue of plastic bottles, we have the refill stations in Jena where you can refill just with tap water your bottles. And we have this is a fairly new thing from this year. You see this vending machines with just regional products. So there's no Coke or, you can see at the train stations that just also very funny regional products you will find in those vending machines. Yeah, so that's it from Jena, and there it's you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I'm Beatrice from Pavia, so I play locally. And I'm happy to present this project because my PhD thesis is entirely devoted to circular economy. So I'm particularly happy that I could give also this practical perspective on the topic. So basically what we did was a think tank here that was in Zoom. We divided the stakeholders according to these 3 groups. Although I think that all of them should then work together. So here we divided them because of practical reasons for sure. So, but what I really think is that all the 3 stakeholders need to work together. From university perspective, there is the need to make a step forward in the circular economy, because the university, of course, is the place to promote education. But not only, also to work in the society, in help to develop best mobility practices, reduce waste, and reduce the traffic in the city center, because this is a huge matter for Pavia, since as you have seen, it's a university town and all the places are connected. So it's necessary to reduce the traffic and to promote sustainable mobility. And this is a key issue for the next years. The problems are mainly that getting people involved. So circular economy, also according to my PhD thesis, is about getting people involved and getting stakeholders involved. So we need citizens to be active, to be engaged in these issues. And this is what the university can play a huge part. So here, I hope this is a kickoff. So this is just a way to start this path towards getting the solutions done, and engage people and try to understand, to make students and citizens understand the importance of developing these practices. The university has already started doing some practices that I will show you in a while, but there are some challenges, especially for Pavia, connecting the university with local stakeholders. This is the key problem we have here. The university need to be more open to the society, to the municipality, and to the firms. And with this kickoff, we started connecting some firms that some representatives are already here. So let's hope this is a starting point. Regarding the city, as is connected to the university, the main idea of the stakeholders we had was to reduce urban waste through best practices such as reuse, try to avoid food waste, recycle all kind of waste that we have of different kinds, and spread the idea of sustainable mobility. Here we have as problems again the collaboration among actors, because I emphasize this aspect because I think this is the key problem we have in Pavia. So we need to work to overcome this problem. And some solutions have already been developed. For example, also as Diana mentioned before, my colleagues mentioned before, we had the Repair Cafe, we have associations of citizens that started to work for that. So we have representatives here of these associations, and this is really important. Citizens get empowered, citizens can make the difference while creating associations and starting working to let the municipality know about some issues that maybe the municipality doesn't figure out. And then, of course, there are remaining challenges. Again, the issue of commitment, so engaging again, promoting, engaging, the main keywords, and I will repeat then again. And regarding businesses, we had really a great talk among many firms. We choose to involve local firms because we thought it might be interesting also to connect them. And some firms even didn't know each other. So that was like, okay, it sounds a bit weird, no? But that's again our problem. So we had these firms recycling coffee grounds to make new products. We have firms fighting food waste through developing apps and platforms to get exactly the exact amount of food that you need so that you don't throw food away. So we have many practices, and again, the idea of problems to create industrial symbiosis and to connect actors. And also firms have another issue: communicate their value proposition. What are they delivering? What exactly, and to whom? So the what for whom. Sometimes we were discussing yesterday with some representatives from businesses. So what do citizens, do customers do understand what's the value of a circular firm? Or there is too much greenwashing, there is too much this kind of, well, I don't know, I buy fast fashion, yeah, but no, the firms that perform circular practices need to be clear. We do exactly these practices, and we are transparent. So our customers may pay even a little bit price more, no? A little bit markup to price premium to get to buy these kind of products. So another some solutions that the firms started to develop was to connect with actors that had the same mindset again and communicate with their customers. Some firms have developed co-creation with customers by asking them, yeah, what do you think about our product? What do you think? Do you have, may you have some suggestions for us? What do you like? That's the key, the engagement, people empowerment again, and customers empowerment, because at the end are the customers that decide what to buy and what not to buy. So that's the key of the business, what businesses should do. And some problems may be that they still need to scale up. So we have many small micro firms, but they need to scale up and find partners. And of course, they first need to understand their value proposition and then deliver it. Otherwise, if it's something that you laugh about that, Dana, you laugh because for us, but sometimes they don't do it properly. So circular value proposition need to be explained because customers are may not be ready for that. So they say, okay, why should I buy these second-hand clothes instead of going to fast fashion shops? And about textile, we can talk for hours and hours. Okay, so finally some best practices. I've already mentioned you some. So I just want to underline that since I'm a postdoc researcher at the University of Pavia, so I will say about university and what I'm trying to do is to connect with local actors. So having talks with mobility managers and starting implementing more the bike sharing and developing this kind of best practices of course, this is very common to have these reusable bottle instead of using plastic ones. So these water dispensers need to be placed in many university spots, but also in the city. Why not? We need to create students' awareness, and that's what we are doing, because at the university, my professor, Antonella Zuccheri, has just opened a course about circular entrepreneurship. So we are working on that, and we will keep working. And many other initiatives are ongoing. So yesterday I had a talk with the mobility manager, and we have different initiatives also connecting university with firms, because there are firms creating good reusable cups and apps, and we need to connect our university with firms and together also with the city. That's my main goal now. And about the city, we have some representatives now about the sustainable mobility that are going every day to the municipality to tell them what's going on and what should be improved. And we have these also these repair places, repair shop, repair cafe, and so on. We have also an initiative plastic free. So on Sunday, there will be this event in Pavia. So this is very nice, again, to create citizens awareness. And about businesses, I've already talked a lot about businesses because it's my research area, so I don't want to repeat it again. So the idea, the main keyword is to avoid waste. So before you said, what is circular economy? Some of you mentioned business models, such as sharing. Other of you mentioned practices. So all of you, so circular economy from a different perspective, but the keyword is always avoiding waste. Any kind of waste, creating circular loops of resources. So this is what our businesses are doing in textile. You can do it in every industries. So yeah, the avoiding waste and the collaboration are the keywords for Pavia, and there is a lot to do, but we are committed to do it. So yes.
Thank you. I'm going to talk a little bit about think tank of Coimbra. So we have a very attended think tank online with all EC2U Coimbra partners joining the UC, some members of UC community and some experts contributing with their ideas in a total of 21 participants. So it was a very attended session. The difficulty was to condense it just some boxes, all the ideas that we have, they discussed. But about university. The university, the motivation to contribute to the sustainable future and to the adoption of life models that consider and respect the human dimension. And the tonic is the human dimension also with the ideas of sustainability. That's a very important idea to our rector. This is something that he wants to input in all the practices in the management of university, and of course, to transmit it through teaching and by developing new solutions and new paths to circularity. The problems, I'm going to talk all about university, it's easier. And the main problem of the university is the intense daily activity of university in general, and in particular in our university. This intense daily activity generates environmental impacts with the overalls of resources and exorbitant production of waste that result from the consumption of the resources, the travels made by a community of almost 30,000 people, and the behavior of each and everyone works, studies, or simply visits, because our historic university, before COVID, naturally, had almost 500,000 visitors per year. So this huge impact in in our university. The solutions, we have the political commitment of our rector mainly, and he has a vision, a clear vision. He wants to be the first Portuguese university to achieve carbon neutrality, and he wants to do it until 2030. So he has this in the strategic plan with an area in environmental and climate action. We have a dedicated office, sustainable office, and a very active student association that has many ideas and many solutions to some of the problems. In the remaining challenges, we have the energy inefficiency of historic buildings. We have the car traffic in the historic area, specific waste streams. We have the problem of legal barriers. We have faced a lot of legal barriers to implement a circular economy in a public entity, in particular university. And as I said, a community of almost 30,000 people, it's difficult to raise general awareness in an academic community of this dimension. And internally, we have also to improve circularity indicators. And we are trying to define a measurement of ecological footprint developed in a university, a specific model. The city. The motivation of the city is the awareness of all the community in the practice of circularity, the conservation of resources based on natural heritage, and reduce the city production of emissions and waste. These are the main ideas from the city participants in the think tank. The problems they identified is the indifference generated by inaction and lack of political prioritization of cities to circular economy. The persons who were representing municipality in the think tank, they told this because they think that we have now a new mayor, and he put the sustainability in the political agenda, and that he said that before we didn't have it. So this is clearly something that is identified by the new mayor that is with us here in Pavia, and he clearly appointed this inaction and lack of political prioritization. The solutions. The first step, our municipality is developing a roadmap to circular economy. It's the first step they decided to do to overcome this indifference. Remaining challenges, again, the removal of issues of circularity of the economy from the priorities of the political agenda in general, not only of municipalities, but the political general agenda. About business. We have here a lot of ideas because we have some students, junior enterprises participating. We have also Instituto Pedro Nunes, a big producer of new enterprises, and they identified the need to awaken and support business to the urgency of development and implementing new materials. The problems, the need to increase the use of materials for renewable sources, to reduce the waste production, and this is very important to them, rethinking this life cycle of products, and also to increase the durability and extension of lifetime of products. So the Tonica is much concentrated in the lifetime, the revision of the lifetime of products. Solutions appointed, desmaterialization and materials engineering, search for more efficient materials, technologies, solutions in general. Again, the life cycles analysis, and increase the sustainability of non-circular solutions. The remaining challenges, we have the problem of prioritize the use of renewable raw materials, and I highlight the last idea that business are still very focused on the costs of transitioning to circular solutions, and of course with difficult access to financing. That's something that they all pointed, the difficult access to financing. About some good practices. About the university, the good practices, we have the political determination and involvement with introducing the strategic plan, the Sustainable Development Office, the Sustainable Development Observatory, and a dedicated web page to sustainability. So we have a very strong political determination and commitment. We have also a sustainability guide to students. This is being developed by our students association. We have some initiatives like the Energy for Sustainable Initiative. We have the climate clock, something that was inaugurated by our association of students also, and the green community, what we call green community, all the projects that have been developed by the students, for instance, in their events, replacing all plastic for other materials, for instance. In the city, in the region, because we have also the regional associated partner in the think tank, the municipality is developing the roadmap to circular economy. We have the Central Green Deal, a circular public purchase with circular economy principles developed in the central region of Portugal. And we have the regional institutional pact for circular economy. And final, in the business, some examples. We have the hands-on, some workshops to help develop business circular strategies. Services developed by, as I mentioned, the EPN, Instituto Pedro Nunes, to support the development of business models that are as circular as possible. And for instance, I bring an example of an initiative of the students also of the business junior enterprises, e-waste, some project to deal with waste of electrical and electronic equipment. And this is the perspective of Coimbra.
My turn. So I'm Adriana Zeitz from Iași, and now I'll try to present our situation. We had a very nice mixture of participants. They were small companies, big companies, NGOs, researchers. And what was interesting is that the motivations were quite similar. The motivations were quite similar. For example, for all categories, we realized that stakeholders have the most powerful motivation as an internal one, an intrinsic one. They are motivated by passion, by the desire to do something better, to change things, and so on. So these personal values are important. But also, the organizational values were mentioned because most of the companies participating have such social corporate responsibility actions or missions. So they are interested in doing good things for the society. Sorry, I would probably have needed some water. And on the third point, there would be some financial opportunities. Everybody mentioned that, of course, they react to calls for projects. And when they have financing available, they will react. So actually, both ways are good from inside and from outside, let's say the exposure to projects. Sorry. Then in terms of problems, what we realized is that one important issue is the lack of trust. It's a lack of trust in our own power as individuals to change things. It is a lack of trust sometimes in public institutions that would need to change things. We lack a more formal circular economy education. Even at the university, we realized this. And it's not only about having this in a faculty of economics and business, but also about the whole university that should do this. Then we realized that we have a pretty small citizen involvement in this area. Some reluctant entrepreneurs, which are not necessarily willing to get involved into such projects. We also realized that sometimes getting funds for this type of businesses is not a very easy thing. So sometimes we should probably change also the way that financing people are thinking, so that they will appreciate the projects that have this circular component. Okay. Another important issue was the lack of traceability. Everybody complained that we don't have a platform with indicators so that we would be able to compare and see exactly what is the situation in various companies. So if we don't know exactly where things are, then we are not able to change because we don't know what we have to change. So this was one important thing. Another one was the deficient secondary legislation. This means that we do not have enough rules so that we know how to apply the laws that we already have. It is this part of applying the rules that is missing right now. In terms of solutions, yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's way better. In terms of solution, everybody talked about networking, about getting involved into common projects, getting the help, training, technical assistance, and so on. Actually, there are many companies and many things that we are doing in Iași. For example, Iași is part of the Zero Waste Municipalities program. And also we have big companies quite a lot invested into this subject. One of the biggest companies that participated to our think tank is the biggest real estate developer in the area. And they also have this zero waste objective and so on. We have some clusters of creative industry as a solution. And we also have very active small entrepreneurs in the area that are trying to do things for the best. But, of course, we have quite a lot of remaining challenges. How to increase sectorial, intersectorial collaboration? How to increase funds for research in the field? This is one important thing that was mentioned. Then another important issue, and I saw that Pavia had something similar. What are we able to do in order to reduce the risk of greenwashing? It's because sometimes companies are, I don't know, maybe prompt to find an easy way of making things change just at the surface, or maybe have false reporting. So we should be aware of this risk and try to do something to reduce it. Then increase waste management. Our main problems are in the rural areas. If, for example, in the city, we have quite a lot of waste management campaigns, then in the rural areas, the recycling and everything is kind of slow. Another issue is that we have to develop the market for recycled materials, because right now, even if a lot of companies are involved into this and they recycle, they don't have actually a market in order to reuse, to sell, and so on, all those recyclable materials. So that's something that we have to develop. Actually, from this point of view, the whole country is rather in the phase of a consolidation of the linear economy, and it's just at the beginning of circular economy. Okay, now in terms of good practices, we have quite a lot of examples, but somehow the participants decided to go for those initiatives that are at, I don't know how to say, the initial level. Those who involve a lot the citizens, the small companies, the entrepreneurs, because this is where we want to see an increase. So we have this example of an urban center multidimensional space. They have a restaurant in which they want to have a zero waste management and try to do things for the local entrepreneurs and using local products and so on. Then we have Another example of reused, recycled, upcycled clothes and accessories from a green group. And another very nice example, speaking about awareness, is this caravan that we had for especially for schools. I keep forgetting this. Sorry. And the whole idea was to let people know what's actually happening with all this electronic household. So they moved through schools and they disassembled this electronical waste so that people can see how components can be reused, and then how the environment would suffer if those components would be just thrown away. Now just maybe a few more words, if I, very few. The whole idea would be to invest a lot in increasing awareness. It's because comparing to probably other partners, this is the part where we need to develop more. Increase awareness in schools, at home, at the job, so that we can then move people to action, decrease the costs of positive action and increase the cost of having a negative behavior. So thanks, that's it.
Hello, good morning to everybody. Our representative, Chabela, should be here, but due to her commitments, she couldn't share this word with you and explain it better than I will do. The whole, let's say, points that Salamanca has been dealing with. I was in the think tank when it took place in Salamanca, and I followed it until the end because I saw that it was absolutely necessary to understand what we are doing, at what point we are, and how we can put our resources, ideas, and at the same time goals together. This is the main reason why we are here somehow. So I will be brief, don't worry. Following the system, as you see, we do follow the same structure. As far as the meeting, when we had the think tank there, we invited different, let's say, groups, university, lab representatives, agriculture, farm, and businessmen. Because we thought that it was important to share how we can really focus on the circular economy. This is one of our, let's say, strong points that we have to foster. And then, of course, I will follow your structure, and I will be, as I told you, really, I will try to be short because it's time also, you know, when the stomach calls, the brain needs somehow a rest. The motivation: university, agriculture, and business. Three main stakeholders, three main actors who somehow must learn to work together. Otherwise, what we do, if we do it only among or between the walls of the university, it's not going to have any, let's say, positive result if we don't apply it to the next where we have to work on. Agriculture. What do they need are the resources that must be first trained, prepared, and so on at the university level. But also, it's a third actor. With that money, we are not able to do anything. Let's be honest. Let's say, somehow conscious of the fact that without business, no project can be considered successful or will have good reasons. This is why we insisted on these three main points. And within every, let's say, project or idea or works, there are problems, we know. And the biggest problems will again come back to very limited on behalf of the university. And this is the case in Spain. Probably we have to learn to invest much more economic resources for such purposes. At the same time, also, we do have, especially on behalf of the state universities, you know, the bureaucracy, and somehow it's not a lake, but already the coordination could be improved. So we have to be also conscious of this necessity. On behalf of the agriculture and farming part, of course, the same. If they are not well trained, if they don't have the resources, if the university doesn't work closed with them, at the end, the chain doesn't really go forward. And if the chain doesn't go forward, the business has no chance to look for opportunities. In this sense, we do have somehow these problems where the difficulties of reuse the resources we have at our disposal. Sometimes we don't coordinate them. And we were during the meeting, all of the people who were present at our think tank recognized that the main problem was the lack of coordination between the different actors, labs, agriculture, farmers, and the university. This is why Salamanca has started to really focus on what the society needs and make it available to them. So, as you know, where there are problems, we have to find also solutions. Fine, try to find them. What kind of solutions can we offer on behalf of the university side? As you see, achievable objectives at the university and municipal. So what we have been doing in the last time is to work close with the municipality actors. They have the means, we have the human resources, and we have to learn to put them together in order to find the communication channels, not only between the two, let's say, city, but the stakeholders, but also with this part that must produce in order to be able to continue and have somehow ensured future. This is why provide appliance materials, prepare them for reuse, recycling. This has come out during when we made this question, the reuse the resources. We are not so conscious of the necessity. Our resources are limited. And if you don't use them in an intelligent way, at the end, we will have these problems where we are going to arrive to at some point where we are not going to have the resources we will need for life. Challenges. I'm not the one who will tell you what kind of challenges. This is the task of the group where Chabela should be there, but there are many challenges on the way. The challenges of a reuse or reuse those resources that we consider them somehow a waste. And no, those promote the circular economy consists on how can I use each part of the chain in order to make much more effective, much more productive my product. And in this sense, we have to learn how to practice our good practices. Well, on behalf of the group, we realized that linear way of acting, at the end, it starts and it ends. But the circular one will make it possible to have a better model of efficiency and the use of the resources. And we do have, they have focused on an experience, a pilot experience, where they could convert a product into another one, where they could use the waste of a product and produce a new product. And this has been done in a place where, you know, Spain is, especially Castilla y León, is liking or is having huge problems with emptying the whole region, because we don't have enough kids. The villages, the rural life is becoming a huge problem. And now the state, the universities, and the industry are looking for the solutions. Indeed, we have applied for a huge project in order to get the financial support and restart this circular way of regaining those places which are gradually becoming totally empty. And as last but not least, is this symbiosis between the elements. You know that one much better than I do, where we have really to focus also on those resources that can be used in a better and intelligent way. The energy, electricity, which is becoming a big problem in the whole, not only in Europe, but in whole world. So how can we learn? This is Salamanca's message. To be efficient, if we share all together, we have a saying in Spanish: 4 eyes see much better than 2. And this must be the model of the circular economy. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Ephraim. I need that as well. So now it's time for you to get active again and use the Slido, because we want to know what you think are the main challenges. Could you just quickly go back to the, yeah, thank you. In your opinion, what is the biggest challenge on the way to circularity? You've heard a lot about all the different results, all the different think tanks, and we have grouped the challenges into 5 categories, and you see them here, and you also see them on Slido. So please just vote. And we can see the live results here as you type them in. Again, you can use the QR code on the table if it's not working. Just to summarize, we have a lack of agency, lack of financial resources, lack of understanding, lack of communication, and lack of information education. We have put a more concrete question behind each category so that it becomes more clear what we mean with the question. You could do it as well, dear board, just participate, yeah. You can scan the QR code. It's interesting how it changes. But I think it's pretty obvious that the lack of communication and the lack of information are on the top 2, the first 2 positions. Yeah, probably will stay that way. So that means, to put it in other words, to how to inform and educate people with different educational levels, backgrounds, and cultures, and also how to enhance the communication between essential stakeholders to promote systematic thinking and collaboration, so that these 2 challenges, in your view, are the most important ones that we have to face. And our question was also at the think tanks, beside the 4 things that we just presented to you, the next thing, and if we go just back to the slides, we collected ideas for our EC2U Alliance, because we really wanted to know what we can do in our alliance. And we try to order the results in a bit of a systematic way. And if you're not new to EC2U, you might have heard about the knowledge square, the famous knowledge square: research, education, innovation, and service to society. And let me just quickly, very quickly, because there will be a lunch outside, introduce the idea that all of the think tank participants had with regard to the EC2U community. So for example, with regard to research, we as an alliance could increase the research knowledge transfer within the alliance to really see who's already doing research. Like Beatrice said, there is research, good research going on, so we can share that. Also, there was one result from Jena to agree on a joint definition of circular economy. We could have joint research projects and also collect data together and make data accessible within our alliance. You know, the whole idea of open science is connected to that, and I think we could really include the topic of circular economy in that. For the area of education, let's raise awareness, information, education, communication by having joint workshops, courses, lectures, modules on circular economy, recognized in the joint master degrees, for example. Also, we have the EC2U career certificate plan. We could have modules on that included in the career certificate. And also, you know, it's not here, but we have, as you know, the entrepreneurial week and all the open online lectures. We also have in the other EC2U project, research and innovation for cities and citizens, we have the virtual online lectures. We already included BEA and the whole circular entrepreneurship there. So we really do have places within the office of the EC2U Alliance to place and to put the topic of circular economy. Yes, and the whole idea of capacity building and training actions with a view to professional opportunities in green jobs. As we learned, we have staff members within our alliance, we have green offices, we have the sustainable development offices. So let's bring them together and have a peer-to-peer exchange. Also, the whole idea of sharing research facilities, sharing instruments could also be an idea that the EC2U Alliance could follow further. For innovation, and that's the best place to talk about that, is it's here at the Polo Technologico. We could support junior student companies. We could have living labs for students within the EC2U Alliance, and also create a digital platform with easy access to find and check indicators locally as well as on the EC2U level. The most ideas the think tank participants gathered with regard to service to society. Sorry. I think this was one really good result from the think tank, that the university and the cities recognize that they should really work closer together to have a hand-in-hand approach with all on the strategic level. We should really encourage cooperation between institutions and companies, develop local networks, not just to raise the pressure on moving forward on the topic of circular economy. And maybe we as an alliance can really implement a reward system where we could further address the issue, just put it up in the network meetings, and also in the policy recommendation we are going to write here for the think tank. And yesterday we also, in the event, The Voice of Students, you talked about having little competitions. Why not also have competitions who's, you know, the greener EC2U community? We can have contest type events to encourage recycling, and we can have a Let's Do It campaign for the citizens, in all EC2U partner cities. Yeah, and also why not have a newsletter to really get the information going on all the different events and actions in other places. And as a last category, it's not within the knowledge square, but the events, that we really should commit ourselves as an alliance to plan and organize climate neutral events within the framework of EC2U, and have no non-recycled or recyclable plastic giveaways. We shouldn't just do it. Yeah. Okay, so last thing we like to know about you, from you, is what would you be willing to do in order to become more circular? I have to say, when I planned my trip here to Pavia after the think tank, of course, I couldn't use the plane. I was so, self-conscious that I did not from Jena. I took the night train to come here. So I didn't use the plane. So that was my commitment. And I will be going back 12 hours by train tomorrow. So yeah, but what's your stand? What would you do in order to become more circular? Let us know. We can, yes. Let's have a look. That should be interesting. Reduce water consuming, went by train as well. Yeah, go train. Be vegetarian. I actually saw a poll where you could say either vegetarian or vegan or other. That was the first time I've ever seen, asking for food preferences. Okay, DIY, Texas, go train, yes. Punish green policy, sorry, yeah, was to learn to ride a bike. Oh, we should do that right now. Who has to learn to ride a bike? Yes, we have to rent a bike. Yes, buy less. I will not buy if I'm not sure to use it. Yes, that's really a good point. Consume mostly locally, buy secondhand clothes, less packaging and plastic. Yeah. To borrow instead of buying things. Public transport, of course, that's another thing. To reuse more. Share good habits with friends. Not eating meat, that's, yeah, also. Use apps for sharing and secondhand clothes, that's a really good point. If you know any apps that are good for those kind of things for sharing, let us know. We can also add it in the policy recommendation. Reuse coffee waste to enrich plant soil, yeah, that's really good. Coffee and eggshells, good for plants. Buy less meat, use a bike, buy only what is necessary, do not buy fast fashion, avoid processed food and food with a huge amount of plastic packaging. I think this is a really nice.
Nobody mentioned the airplanes, by the way.
Yeah.
that was a huge issue.
Yeah.
Traveling around Europe is a huge issue to find.
Traveling around Europe,
that,
yeah. Yeah. And as an alliance that fosters mobility, we should be well aware of that fact. Yeah. So I think great ideas, inspiring ideas how to become more circular from your side. Thank you for that. And we have just one slide left. If we go learn to grow some food, that's actually really good. It's a good plan to do that. Just as a summary of what has been said today, we have to really accelerate sense making and awareness. That's a really big issue that we've learned. What is it? What is circular economy? What is its relation to us? What does it prompt us to think, and how so? So that's really a big point. And the second point, to really foster collaboration. We learned that. That is the takeaway message. Talk to each other, collaborate with each other locally as well as on the EC2U context. And what we've learned, that associations are really important. Maybe that's an idea for the Alliance as well, to get more associations involved in the project and to really look out for the opportunities, as I said before, within the EC2U research and teaching activities to place the topic of circular economy. And the last thing to do, let's do it. So thank you very much for your attention and your patience. Have a good day. Thank you.
Sorry, sorry, there is just one thing more before going to the lunch, that it's ready just there. It will be outside, so it's sunny. It's you will enjoy it. One thing is to thank Polo Tecnologico and Tommaso Mazzocchi, the president of the Polo, to host us here. And another session that will be also in the afternoon in the same premises. So I hope you will stay also for later. And now I just give the floor to Martina to give some good news about the University of Pavia.
Okay, thanks. So just a very, very brief note, but we're so happy about it that we really want to share with you. And it was such a brand new that we didn't have the time to put it in the slides of the presentation. So last week, like exactly 1 week ago, we, Julia, I, and some other people that I see in the public here, another Julia, and on behalf of the University of Pavia, won a national competition in the frame of the European Week for Waste Reduction. And that was exactly centered on circular economy and circular. Julia, she disappeared. I can't remember the title exactly of the event, but that was very much focused indeed on circular economy. So that was just a brief note to share this good news we are so happy about. Thanks. We'll send you some notes. With the forum coming up, we didn't even have the time to send some news, but you'll get it. Thanks.
Yeah, it was because of me. I thought I will die.